recently GW released a new and updated version of COTEAZ, the Inquisitor from the Grey Knight Codex. And my client didn't really like it. He wanted something a bit closer to the classic art that we see in the old Codex, namely this. He wanted something pretty much one-to-one. And the new miniature was not going to get us there, by and large. So we had to build this this thing kind of from the ground up. And it ended up being probably one of my favorite projects. This was a lot of fun. So here we have my version of COTEAZ. All right, now the new version is absurdly fat and large and bulky and out of scale. He's almost Terminator thick, which is crazy. The client did not want that. Instead, he settled on Primaris size or scale. In other words, this piece is pretty much on par with Primaris. Whether that is lore correct for COTEAZ or whatever is less of a concern for my client. So we actually went with a set of legs
from Liber Demonica.
This is their
Warden faction.
And I split the legs at the crotch and rebuilt the crotch. Didn't really do a whole lot of detail on the cod piece because it was going to be covered by cloth anyway. And so what was more important was rather that we attach to the feet a set of pins that would allow me to bend and position the legs in just the right way. Now in the art, I can't really tell, but it kind of looks like maybe cobblestones. And so I just did a cobblestone texture on the base using a texturing tool from Green Stuff World. Pretty easy to do. Now once we had the legs in position, I did take the kneecap from the new COTEAZ and also sculpted on some shin detail because his armor's supposed to be muscular, right? To make him close to the art. I think pretty close to the art. Not one-to-one, but decently close. We added some parchment here by using some green put, mixture of green stuff and milliput, to make the edges really sharp, detail nice and crisp. And underneath, we glued some aluminum foil so that the purity seals stream out the side to give it some motion. I did not end up using the pistol from the new set as it's too big, too bulky, and looks ridiculous. So this is just a pistol from some Space Marine kit, not necessarily important. There's plenty in that scale, but that one just looked right. Used some very small chain I got from Amazon to attach an hourglass. The belt here is from the new piece, so that was used, that was harvested. And I used a torso from a new Sanguinary Guard because that fits the motion with the armor twisting this way as he's walking. It just fit very well. The pauldron the gorget is just sculpted in milliput as well. Now I have tutorials for how to do these and how to do these and how to blend. We needed to differentiate the pecs on this guy, take care of the blood drop, so there needed to be some work done, and I have tutorials on all of that. We have a Grey Knight harvested. Actually, sorry, this is from the Death Watch kit. Just a little inquisitorial charm. You can see there. Ran a little bit of wire through there for a necklace. And then we added more purity seals, and I really wanted to face the purity seals, twist them so that they faced towards COTEAZ, facing this way. So when you look at him from here, you can see that these are purity seals, and they take up certain empty areas in the miniature that create volume and motion at the same time. So we wrapped the arm in the purity seals in epoxy, and then added those as well. Now his gauntlets in the art have these extra little protrusions over the palms, these little plates, so we added those. This is an arm from a Stormcast Eternal. This is the forearm from him, and then the elbow and the arm to the to the armpit is actually from a Black Templar from the Crusaders kit. Same with this side. The Crusader kit is a little bit bigger than the scale we're going for, and so I shaved down the elbow pads until they were in scale with the Stormcast arm, and that turned out to be just fine as far as scale goes. This was the biggest challenge, was getting a pose where he could be carrying the hammer over his shoulder. The only way to do that was to sculpt the hand from scratch. So we had a pin from the forearm extend into the grip of the hammer, and the hammer is also pinned up here, and then we sculpted the hand around it. I do have a tutorial on how to sculpt hands like this. It's a lot easier than you think. The best tip I can give quickly is practice drawing hands before you sculpt them, because there is some nuance that you need to get a hold of before you sculpt hands. But once you do and you kind of understand them, they're not as complicated as you may think. The head is, I think, just a Space Marine head. We just went with the classic bald Space Marine head. He needed a book, and I wanted the book to be the correct size and also to have chain running through the binding. So I took some more jewelry chain and I built this out of plastic card. I do have a tutorial on how to do that, along with some jewelry studs and a little skull, and then the binding on the back here. You may not be able to tell very well, but this is actually the inquisitorial eye. So here's the main post in the eye for the inquisitorial seal. Let's see if we can get that in focus. And the binding has some straps to come off the side to create that logo, that symbol, I suppose. The cloth is my complex cloth tutorial on the Patreon. So you start with simple cloth and then add folds in motion with that. And then to do the cloak, this is a flat sculpting technique, which I also have a tutorial for. A lot simpler than you'd think, but it does create large patches with lots of motion in one smooth piece all in one go. And then obviously we also have a fur tutorial where we add textured fur that doesn't look too combed. It looks a little bit matted, just enough that it looks like it could be in battle instead of being nice and clean. I guess how clean you want it to be would be up to you as you're sculpting it, but I opted to go with a little bit ragged. I think it fits. And that's basically him. Now, the bird here, his Cyber Eagle, was a bit of a trick because I wanted him to have this magic angle that you view him from, not obscured by the bird. And I wanted him to be taking off. So it's going to be up to the painter to paint this rod here, this pin, in such a way that it blends with the eagle. But if he does it, and he positions the eagle just like that, then it frames COTEAZ very well. You don't obscure COTEAZ at all. This actually follows the hammer in an arc and completes the image here. So all of the purity seals, everything was carefully positioned to give that motion and to complement spacing with each of the other elements, and I think it really came together, and I'm very happy with it. I think this is closer to the original art, and frankly, if I were going to make a COTEAZ for myself, this is pretty much where I would land. So, hope you enjoyed that last look. If you did, go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Last Light Creative. If you have a desire to make cool stuff like this, join us on Patreon at lastlightcreative.com. We have tons of tutorials that probably go into deeper depth than you'll ever need, but hey, they're there. So, thanks so much.